Good evening. Welcome, everyone, to the Monday, July 15th pre-council meeting for the City of Joliet. Mayor Terry Darcy presiding.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Darcy.
Here.
Councilman Cardenas.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilwoman Ibarra. She did notify me she was unable to attend due to illness. Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a presentation, High Point Solutions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. I want to introduce John Kaya of High Point Solutions. He's the owner and operator of the product you'll be discussing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to come back to speak to the group. I'm just going to plug in. Hopefully this works. I'll keep it a brief presentation, trying to get to the point. But basically, my company is based off bringing technology to transportation. Started my career back in the military where I was doing transport for large convoys. We would do handheld measurements of the fleet and handheld measurements of the infrastructure that was in front of us. Over time, when I got out, we started looking at different technology. One in particular technology is called LiDAR. LiDAR is a very generic term called light detection and ranging. Basically what it does is create a 3D representation of an object. Either if we're moving the sensor down the road, like what Google, Apple does when they're doing 3D mapping of the roads, or we have a stationary LiDAR as the vehicle goes through, we create a 3D digital twin of that. So in this representation, this video, this is exactly what our sensors do. We place them either stationary on the side of the road, or in this case, based off feedback from the city, we made portable systems that we can put on the side of the road. And as the vehicle goes through at highway speeds, we create a digital twin of it. That digital twin creates exact dimensions of the vehicle, height, width, length. We also then do other things like axle spacing and exact vehicle type identification. Down to the point we could put this in 26 different vehicle type categories. Motorcycles, cars, or trailers with hitches, to oversized vehicles. One of the issues that the city is facing at times is being able to identify when these vehicles, these oversized vehicles, are on roads they shouldn't be on. So we can put these discrete sensors like this on the side of the road, and as the vehicle goes by, it triggers, again, capturing the 3D representation of the vehicle. But in addition, we have cameras that collect an image of the vehicle, and additionally we collect the license plate and the US DOT number. All that information then is logged into a web-based viewer, meaning anybody with the browser and admin rights can go in and log and see these vehicles come in real time. Each vehicle will have a timestamp, the speed, direction of travel, the vehicle type, and of course all the dimensions. So for instance, in this scenario in the city, if a vehicle is traveling on a road it should not be on because it's not a rated road for that, it'll automatically flag and identify, here's the time, here's the place, here's the size, and here's a license plate and the US DOT number, giving the city visual verification of when this happened and how often this has happened. And because of the based off the city's feedback to our products, making it portable, meaning the city can then push them at places in for multiple weeks, grab a lot of analytics about what is happening, how many of these vehicles are actually going, and when are they going through a certain type of location. Very quickly, I'll just go to a live demonstration of the software. Go full screen, excuse me. So in addition to just doing the normal, as I said, the vehicle identifications and the dimensions, it also provides the city quite a bit of interesting traffic monitoring data. How fast was the vehicle going? And what are the speed, the peak times of day and time that you're seeing this type of traffic happening? So this automatically comes out and falls out, and we put it in these GIS dashboards. Then it'll allow you, we do have the real-time monitor, but it'll also allow the city to go back, look at a week's worth of data, a month's worth of data, and say, okay, let's filter, let's look at vehicles all over 14 feet high, dynamically changes, so we're seeing average three per day, vehicle type, and we can actually go live and look at when these are happening. We see a vehicle that's linked, and we have this automatically stored to go look at this vehicle information and the vehicle 3D dimension itself. So this gives the city lots of visual verification, confidence of the data source, and if somebody would come back and say, no, that wasn't me, that wasn't my dimensions, of course you have this to automatically go back and log and see. Another example of this is on one of our dashboards. We create these custom dashboards are part of what we deliver. Sorry, your screen. And here you can just set certain filters. So show me any vehicle that's what I said, the city said that I would consider too wide, and any vehicle too high. Automatically goes down, and we still have this dynamic filter. They have this, they can go click, read, see. We're also seeing the license plate being identified, having the full 3D to again visually inspect. Obviously this is maybe a vehicle that should not be on that type of road. And we have the exact time, location, and who did it. The system itself that we are posed that looks like the portable system will be this. So it's very much, you may be used to seeing these trailers with maybe a radar to say you're going too fast, right? They're put in a certain situation, same thing. This is a self-contained trailer that can be put out any location on the side of the road. It has its own cellular connection. We don't need another connection to it. And it has its own power, meaning it's being powered by solar power. So the city doesn't have to connect to a Wi-Fi, doesn't have to connect to a power source, it can move. Once it is moved to a new location, we remotely log in and we recalibrate it based off with the distance from road, height from road, and within minutes it's ready to go and start collecting. With that, if there's any questions, I'm happy to address.
Mayor,
Sure.
did you indicate that it could weigh the vehicle also, or just height and weight?
It does not do height and weight, excuse me, it does not do weight. It currently is being used by the state DOT at Illinois at weigh stations, meaning there are already scales, and we take that scale data and we can combine that data. So if there's already scale data being used, like at a weigh station, or if you had a mobile WIM put out and it's being taken, we can ingest that data source into our software or dashboard and help you flag by weight and dimension too. But this sensor that we're proposing right now does not have that weight compliant to it.
Yeah. How old is this technology, or how new?
LiDAR sensors themselves are not fairly new. I've been using them since 2007, and there's different capacities. The real differential now is LiDAR is being used in almost every major application, from transportation to military to security. So what that means is the sensors have come down in price and size, and it has to have an immense amount of uptime. The first sensor I did for this was back in 2016, but the cost of the sensors were hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now the costs have come down quite a bit, that we're actually now taking them and applying to these type of applications. So for me, using for transportations, I've been doing, my company for this particular has been doing this for 3 years. I've been doing it for transportation since 2007.
And I was just curious, it's good to hear it's that old. Because I know a lot of communities that bought into the brand new technology several years ago of shock detection. It's not going so well.
Sure.
Technology.
Right, the sound-based.
Right, you know, they haven't perfected it yet, but this has been established for more than a decade.
Exactly, and to be clear, I do not make the LiDAR sensors, I integrate, so we're a little sensor agnostic that way, meaning we do a lot of testing of different sensors for we have different applications. We do volume scanning for indoor bins, and we do mobile mapping for vertical clearance. We do other things outside of this. So when a better one comes on or tested or has a good track record, we're able to integrate it. We're not trying to force one, hey, we created this sensor, so use it for this. We're constantly using different sensors, the best in class out there.
Chris, this question's for you. On this data, does it give us any ability, since we can identify the vehicle apparently from its license plate to issue tickets, or we can't do that, like a red light camera? We need state permission to do that?
No, the state statute offers you different situations in which you can do this. This doesn't appear in there, but as we learned recently from the state Supreme Court, under our home rule authority, we can create different enforcement mechanisms that exist out there. So there's really, based on what the gentleman's talking about, there's two ways you can use it. You can have an officer there in real time, and the officer can use that data just like a radar gun would to tell the speed of the vehicle and issue a citation on the spot, or we're hoping to develop an administrative proceeding whereby which we can use this data for enforcement of those violations.
And since it doesn't do any weight calculations, which I understand, how would we take them?
We have not been, there's a couple ways to do that, right? I know everybody thinks in terms of weight, but we generally do not weigh vehicles. That's very time consuming, for the officers to do it. It's very low yield as far as the operations go. Our enforcement package is based around the size of the vehicle. So if you notice our signs around town, it'll say the weight limit, then underneath it says GVWR, gross vehicle weight rating. So essentially that's us saying, think about Western Avenue right over here, right? Now you cross the bridge and you're going up there, that's a truck route. But when it gets to Western, it's not. You gotta turn, if you're a truck, you gotta turn right or left. We're saying, going up Western Avenue, and other Raiders, another one too, and other restricted routes, we're saying, hey, it doesn't matter what you weigh, it matters what your size is. That vehicle, if it's rated at 20,000 pounds, is what I'm talking about here, that vehicle is too big to be on that residential road, therefore it's unsafe. We don't want vehicles of that size, so what the gentleman's talking about is perfect for that kind of enforcement mechanism, so we know the sizes of the vehicles. Based on the size of the vehicle, we're gonna know the weight rating of the vehicle, and that's a violation.
But on roads that do allow for, semis, tractor trailers, then it can't really help us do anything in that situation because we don't know what the weight is. Then it's a weight thing. And that they're allowed to be there, but only up to 80,000 pounds, for instance, we don't know.
The city of Joliet is unique in that a lot of roads running through town are state truck routes, and we can't restrict weights on those roads. So this is a very useful tool for restricted roadways.
Residential especially.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor?
Just one quick point on that, the state, currently Illinois DOT, the state troopers do use it for compliance, as you said, so as the vehicles come into a weigh station, they are checking their dimensions too against their permitted. Oversized vehicles need to be permitted correctly, and there's something that can be matched. So if an oversized vehicle is going on one of your residential roads or a state road, they can be stopped if it's over a
certain size and check permit against this. And state troopers do issue citations and tickets on spot based off our technology.
Thank you.
For me, what we've been, fighting against is in the wrong areas, these trucks going into neighborhoods that they shouldn't be in. So the remote access would be key in that point. If we had a police officer that could sit there all day, we would do that. But since that's not, the way we can do it, the remote access would be what we would use the most to, you go there, we might not be sitting there, but you're going to get a ticket. So I think that's great.
Mayor.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, and I think too, we're gathering the data, right? If we're going down, they keep going down this road that they're not supposed to be on, 15 times in a week, the chief could send one of our officers there. We know when they're gonna be coming by at some point. So you don't have to sit there for 24 hours, but I think the data thing too is a key, so.
It would be interesting to see the peak times when these are happening, because it will show you that and when these occurrences are doing. It does have additional capabilities, like so some cities and states, you mostly use them for like a low height warning system. So knowing that you have some low bridges people like to cut across the city and get hit on, the same sensor without adding anything differently can send messages to a active message board saying you're too tall, flashing lights, you're gonna hit this bridge, take the next exit. So this same technology is used for that also. So it could be used in a way for compliance, and then move to another spot. Maybe you're having some bridge strikes happening now.
Mayor, Chris, would we be using, or I don't know who would answer this, but would we be using this as like a red light camera so we see the violation and then we could ticket them, or are we just using this for data purposes to then eventually try to catch somebody? Do we know?
Well, at first, we're gonna have to use it for data purposes because we're gonna have to run a lot of trials before we go active with an enforcement program for this. But hopefully, once we get everything figured out and the best way to work the system, integrate it into our existing software or enforcement software programs, we'll be using it for enforcement.
Question about the data, and maybe this might be a question for even perhaps Chris Sternal. But so I see the design here has a modem router, has the capacity to collect the data and then send it, somewhere off on location. Where is that data to be stored? Who owns that legally? Do we become the owners of that data? And then what are we doing? Are there measures in place to protect people's identities? Because we saw in the example here, I mean, we're reading license plates, we're collecting that. Just want to be cautious of that.
Sure, good questions. So the device itself has an edge device, a computer right there in real time. It's creating the data and the measurements. And then we have the connectivity that it's all backed up into an AWS cloud-based storage.
Mm-hmm.
We take advantage of the AWS security, redundancy, uptime for our other infrastructure there to make it secure. To access the data, then the city can access it through any admin-approved login browser-based, meaning you do not have to download software on your computer or even an iPad or a tablet. It can be accessed through any browser at a location with the correct permissions that you set up. Data ownership is yours, however you want to handle that. We certainly can handle all the storage and everything else, but at the end of the day, it's your data. You can have any of the raw data. You can download it locally. You can use it in other applications if you'd like, but it is your data.
Yeah, I think having that compiled data and kind of looking at it in an aggregate form is going to be important for our comprehensive plan to know which areas are seeing the highest volumes of traffic. We talked about kind of peak hours during the day, so I think this is going to be very valuable information.
Two more questions after Pat.
So have you or can you provide some references of other municipalities in our area or that we could check with, or maybe you've already given it to somebody?
I apologize for interrupting. Yeah, part of our proposal was providing references, including the state trooper in Illinois and the state DOT. But in addition, we gave examples where we are unique, like with North Dakota DOT binary systems, and we are the only ones that have this, so they did basically a sole source justification based off this. But yes, we're happy to provide contacts for you.
Thank you.
Is this something the city would lease or purchase? The actual hardware?
We gave the option for both.
Okay. And Chris, one other thing, what's the maximum? I remember a couple of years ago, we had a lawsuit about our fines on trucks. I think we said 750 or 1,000 maximum. We were told 250 is the maximum that we are allowed. Has that changed with the recent home rule Supreme Court decision? Can we go back to having higher fines?
We could do that. There's a cap on certain types of fines that we can levy with certain offenses. That cap exists in the vehicle code, but only applies to certain things, and is unlikely that it does apply to this.
All right, so we can research that because we can do it in steps, right?
Yes.
So you get hit the first time, 250, the second time, 500, the third time, 2,000.
Something like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, that was my question.
Oh.
That's okay.
Were your ears burning?
No.
I know we've been looking at this for quite some time, and it's a really good system, and we think, Caesar, to your question, long-term, we think this is going to replace a police car sitting out there. I think about Rowell Avenue right now, Millsdale Road, 4th Avenue. These trucks are just going wherever they want. And this really is a great way to do this without having squad cars sitting out somewhere. So it gives us an opportunity, once we get this thing dialed in, understand the system, how to use the data, and then how to enforce it, we're going to have quite a good system here. So I think the first step is get it out there into the places where we know that these roads are being used illegally, and start to capture that data, understand it. Probably have a squad car sitting there just to maybe pick up some of the revenue, because obviously they're in the wrong spot, but we can start to dial in the use. And I think, Chief, you've got a team working on this that are going to really calibrate this as we move along, don't you? All right. That's kind of the summary of it. We've been working on it a long time, and we really think this is going to be a great fit for us, because a lot of these trucks just go wherever they want, whenever they want. We don't want that.
One other question, Mayor. Can each council member, can we be supplied with the cost information and analysis? Whoever, I'm asking that to whoever.
on the item.
Isn't it in the information?
It's in the memo.
Public safety, it's all in there.
Oh, it's on the public safety, it's already there, okay. All right, thank you. I got it.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening?
Hello, I'm Emily Brzezicki, owner of Black Cat Curiosities. I have a petition going for a special use permit for a store in downtown Joliet. And I just wanted to let you all know that I'm here and available to answer any questions.
Anyone else that would like to speak? Seeing none, the city manager will review the items on tomorrow's agenda.
Beginning with the consent agenda, Council Memo 33424, award of contract for portable LiDAR-based vehicle detection and warning system with High Point Solutions in the amount of $156,000. Just heard about that and everyone asked questions. Any other questions?
The question would be, are we buying or leasing it with that 156?
We, I believe, are buying it, leasing it? Okay, can you give them the details of all that?
I'll explain. It's 30 minutes or something, maybe 3 years.
I apologize, I had to get my numbers straight. What we did was we wanted to enter into a 3-year agreement with High Point as opposed to a 5-year or all-out buying the system. The fee of $35,000, I believe it is, that is a one-time fee. After that, it's $3,200 a month for maintenance, service, cloud space, things like that.
So Chief, it's gonna be leased. They're gonna own it and maintain it for us.
Correct.
Year lease.
And they have a maintenance package included with it.
So as the gentleman had said earlier, if a better mousetrap is invented along these lines, they'll switch it out for us.
Yes.
You know, as opposed to if we buy it, we're stuck with it and we have to buy a new one if it gets better.
Yeah, we felt like we'd start out with one unit itself and have a 3-year contract on that instead of buying multiple units at a 5-year or even more year contract. Get ourselves
Kind of
used to the
test drive it
system.
and see.
Exactly.
Right. And we don't need a budget amendment for this, do we?
No.
It's relatively small.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, Chief?
Yes, sir.
So do we have any financial projections on how much we assume we can, the fines would pay for this or support this cost?
We tried to put together some estimate and we just weren't unsure. So we didn't want to put that out there. But there will be some enforcement efforts that will require fees and fines.
Okay.
It would probably pay for itself in no time.
Yeah. Depends on how-
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
but-
depends on how big we can go with the fine. But it's gonna wake some people up when they start using the wrong roads.
Mayor, one other question. It's portable. We're gonna start with one. Who's gonna actually physically move it from one spot?
It'll be the traffic unit.
We will do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Sergeant Weller has been working with John for the last several months, getting all this squared away and working on some of the logistics. One of the reasons why we wanted the portable model was we wanted to be able to move it all around town to hit certain specific areas, depending on what our data tells us.
I think it's a relatively small
Yes.
expenditure.
Yeah, I think it'll
We'll
pay
see if
for
it works well for us and expand it, like we did with the traffic units. Perfect. Thank you.
Chief, I got one more thing. Solar panels, as you know, in the winter here, we don't see the sun a lot.
Correct.
We've been assured that this will work through
Well,
the
I know
off-season.
Yeah, I know with the flock cameras, we were concerned about that, but the vendor has told us that it really doesn't, I mean, you might see some difference from time to time, but it's not as the kind of impact that you would think just because it is a solar panel.
Thank you.
Mayor, did you want to answer? We're good? Well, I saw you wanted to get up, so.
Also, just to answer that question, we're based out of Wisconsin, so yeah, same type of conditions to test on. These are being actively used on the side of the road in Wisconsin. So the solar panel is only there to recharge the active batteries. Even if there's no sun for days, the active batteries can run for 48 hours without being recharged. So it's been tested quite a bit for that. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Moving on to Council Memo 33524, award of a contract for the 2024 Advanced Traffic Management System Phase A project to H&H Electric Company in the amount of $1,040,442.25. This system will allow the electric division to receive instant notification when signal requires maintenance. A text message will be sent into a flash condition and let us know when the lights aren't working.
Mayor, we just will look at the committee, just to follow up on your comments.
Sure.
This money is coming from the Build Illinois grant that we have, so it's not going to be local tax dollars. It's tax dollars, but not local. And Phase A should be roughly somewhere near 2/3 of the city.
You know, when I spoke earlier, I had it backwards. It's actually 1/3.
Oh, it's 1/3.
I had my numbers swapped, but yeah, it'll be a 1/3 of our
1/3
traffic.
of the city.
We've got about
Starting with the
100
busiest streets.
Yeah, we've got about 130 traffic signals that we maintain in the city, and this is about 45 to 50 in that range. Yeah.
Just wanted to give those details.
Thank you.
Council Memo 33624, award of contract for the Well Rock 1 reinstallation to Water Well Solutions Illinois LLC in the amount of $124,190. This is just a new motor for one of our wells. Council Memo 33724, award of contract for the East Side Treatment Plant Service Road Paving Project D Construction, Inc. in the amount of $177,001 and a construction engineering services agreement to Engineering Solutions Team in the amount of $19,800. Currently, we have a gravel road here, and we'll be paving it. Council Memo 33824, award of professional services agreement for the Joliet Area African American Historic Context Study to Preservation Futures in the amount not to exceed $135,000. Council Memo 33924, the purchase of license plate recognition equipment from Minuteman Security Technologies, Inc. in the amount of $56,738.26. We are going to be holding this item on this agenda and the next to give the police department more time to look into the technology and make sure that it will work with their systems and show up data like, is this a stolen car that's downtown that we're detecting, not only just for parking purposes, but all other purposes that the police need to know. We just need to do a little further research on that. So we'll bring it back to you in a couple of weeks once we get all those questions answered.
I have one more question on that one.
Yeah.
Mayor. Yeah. So it says the technology. So are we buying, like, will we do it on multiple vehicles, or is that just per, like, that cost would be like per setup per vehicle that we do?
I believe it's just per vehicle, but I'll refer to Greg Ruddy for that.
Yeah, this is just for one camera, and we intend on having a vehicle that this camera will be installed on.
So if we would have to buy additional ones if we did 2 or 3.
That's correct, yeah, if we wanted to go further. With the downtown area, you could complete, it's not that large, you can complete a parking enforcement circuit down there or a couple, and then the thought is you could also potentially move this to other locations in the city and do other enforcement issues. But as the city manager stated, we want to make sure that it integrates properly with the police department's existing systems. So we're just holding off a bit.
I was excited to see it on the, get this downtown parking situation under control.
We're on our way.
Thanks.
Council Memo 34024, purchase of 1 new vehicle for undercover drug enforcement. Council Memo 34124, Amendment Number 2 to the Professional Services Agreement for the 2023 Water Main Rehabilitation Program for Construction Services Engineering to Baxter and Woodman in the amount of $272,987. Council Memo 34224, change order number 1 for the Well 10D Rehabilitation Project to Water Well Solutions, Illinois, LLC, in the amount of $102,050. Council Memo 34324, change order number 1 for the Walsh Avenue, Taylor Street to Douglas Street Roadway Improvement Project 2022 to Austin Tyler Construction, Inc., reducing the amount by $88,647.61, and payment request number 5 and final payment in the amount of $55,997.82. This is just a reduction in price, and we're wrapping the project up. So if we're using MFT funding, we have to bring it through council to explain what we're doing. Council Memo 34424, change order number 1 for the Cora Street, Frank Avenue to Russell Street Roadway Improvement Project 2023 MFT to Austin Tyler Construction, Inc., reducing the amount by $1,570.39, and payment request number 3 and final in the amount of $15,474.82. Council Memo 34524, change order number 4 for the Joliet, Ottawa Water Main Improvement Project to Trine Construction Corps in the amount of $229,372.25. This change order is for additional trench backfill, additional rock excavation, additional water main open cut 6 inches, additional sanitary sewer removal and replacement of 8 inches, and additional storm sewer removal and replacement 8 inches. Council Memo 34624, change order number 6 for the Plainfield Rock Road, Black to Center Water Main Improvement Project to Trine Construction Corp. in the amount of $46,800.76. This change order will be an additional 1-inch water service connection to water main and curb stop, 1-inch additional 1-inch water service line open cut, and an additional 1-inch service line directional drill.
Can I ask a question on these change orders? Is this something that wasn't engineered in there, or something that we had to do kind of on the job to find out that we needed to make these additional changes for the extra money?
Allison?
Yes, these were for unforeseen conditions like additional rock excavation that we had not anticipated, and also for additional quantities of materials for service lines we had not included in the bid document. So especially when we work in the downtown area, there's a lot of unforeseen things that pop up that necessitate change orders.
Okay.
Mayor?
Yep.
Just to clarify, because we did, myself, Councilwoman Reardon, Councilman Mudron, really drilled down on this at the committee level. So we do have, one of the questions we asked, we do have, in this case, it was on these, it was Baxter Woodman. We have an engineering firm that's looking out for the city's interests, because I was curious too. And so when the contractor says they need to add this or subtract that, our consultant looks over their shoulder and he has to agree to it or not agree to it, in which case if there's a disagreement, it comes out. Okay.
Mayor? Yeah, I brought that up a few weeks ago. We do have in-house as well. Every time we have a change order, everybody's like looking like, it seems like it's happening every meeting. But we do have oversight here at the city that, they're not just coming up with this change order and we're paying extra money all the time. We do have somebody, doing some oversight, so, thank you.
Council Memo 34724, authorization to approve the proposed renewal of property and casualty coverages. This is renewal of our insurance. And that brings us to the end of our consent agenda. Moving on to ordinances and resolution. Ordinances, Council Memo 34924, ordinance approving a special use permit to allow an antique store located at 118 North Ottawa Street. The city requires a special use permit for businesses where most of the merchandise is secondhand. And you heard from the and from the petitioner, the business owner earlier. If you have any questions for her, this would be the time.
When is the anticipated grand opening?
I'm doing a soft opening for council at the end of this month for a couple days, and then the official grand opening will be the same day as there's a baseball thing going on downtown on July, I want to say, or I'm sorry, August. I think it's August 15th or 16th, it's Thursday. They're doing a sidewalk sale for all the businesses, so I'm going to coincide my official opening with that event so that, just bring more support downtown.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing business downtown.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Question. Sure. Chris, maybe you're the best to answer this, if there is such an answer. Why does she need I get it, it's ordinance, but what, is there any explanation? I get it with pawn shops. You're trying to control people selling stolen goods, but on antiques, that's just been lumped in with all secondhand stores, secondhand clothing, and pawn shops, all kind of lumped together?
It would be considered a resale shop, so for those same reasons, those businesses are lumped together because there are sometimes unique concerns with that. Not so much with an antique store, but by definition, an antique store is secondhand merchandise. So that's why they need a special use permit.
But they're not required to report their purchases and sales like a pawn shop would be.
That's correct. They don't have the same requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Council Memo 35024, ordinance approving a record plat of Ashford Place PUD Unit 2C. So this is a final plat to build out the rest of a subdivision. As you all know, a majority of some of these subdivisions in 2008 they stopped building. And so we're starting to see it pick up again, and the rest of the house is getting built out. So that's what's happening here. Council Memo 35124, ordinance approving a record plat of Whisper Glen PUD, Unit 2B. It's the same as the former, but a different area.
Question, Mayor?
Sure.
And these are all homes, single-family
Yes.
homes that they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a number, what their build-out would be? Something we can get for tomorrow? You don't have to get it today.
Yeah, I'll get it for you before
I'm very
the meeting
curious
tomorrow.
how many
Yeah.
units
So this says Unit 2B is approximately 9.5.
He's here.
Oh, Jim's here. Never mind. He can answer.
Okay.
The petitioner's here.
Oh, and the petitioner's here, both.
Yeah, so I think there were 241 total lots in this subdivision. The Ashford Place Unit 2C has 44 new single-family lots that they'll bring on, and the Whisper Glen Unit 2B will have 45 single-family lots, so almost 100 in total there.
It's a good indication for the local market. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Council Memo 35224, ordinance approving an amendment to the Des Plaines River Valley Enterprise Zone Intergovernmental Agreement, Rock Run Cross Expansion Request. So now at Rock Run, all of the development will be in the Enterprise Zone. This was approved by the Independent Enterprise Zone State Board, so we're just bringing it through council now. Council Memo 35324, ordinance approving an amendment to a special use permit to allow an existing stealth communications tower to be converted to a monopole tower located at 1300 North Kelly Avenue. So I did not know what a stealth communications tower or what a monopole tower was before this ordinance. Ultimately, this will be a monopole, or the stealth communications it's all the wires and the antennas are kind of enclosed like into what would look like a street light, but this provides stronger service, so it will have exposed antennas. Council Memo 35424, ordinances associated with 3340 Mall Loop Drive, ordinance approving a variation of use to allow a B3 general business use and B2 Central Business Zoning District located at the Louis Joliet Mall. An ordinance approving a special use permit to allow massage therapy business to go on at 3340 Mall Loop Drive. Council Memo 35524, ordinances and a resolution associated with Lakewood Prairie Subdivision Unit 3. Ordinance approving the final planned unit development of Lakewood Prairie Subdivision Unit 3. Ordinance approving the recording plat of Lakewood Prairie Subdivision Unit 3. Resolution approving a development agreement for Lakewood Prairie Subdivision Unit 3. The petitioner is here to answer any questions about all single-family homes or how many will be here.
Any questions?
Yeah, I'd like to know how many, what the total is of single family.
How many total single families?
213.
Any apartments along this?
No.
None at all?
Nope.
Condos?
No, all
right.
single family.
Thank you.
Yep.
Council Memo 35624, ordinance amending the 2024 City of Joliet annual budget for the Victory Center demolition and stabilization project and award of contract. Any questions on that?
I know that price bumped up a little bit, didn't it?
I think about 300,000. Blaine is here and can give us a full rundown.
Good evening. Yes, the initial amount was 1.1, just under 1.2, so it's 1.5 total. And there was 250,000 as a placeholder in next year's capital improvement project budget. We're looking to basically do the whole project for 1.5 this year.
And just to be clear, Blaine, I had a chance to talk to Blaine, I think we all did. And a lot of the, not a lot, but a good portion or a component of this, people have to be reminded there's asbestos involved in this.
Yeah, that was the first part of this project.
Right. So the
that
total
we
is,
created.
the total is,
Correct.
but it's something we need to get rid of.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We need to do this as quickly as possible.
And never do it again. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to resolutions. Council Memo 35824, resolution accepting the grant of public utility drainage, sidewalk, and landscaping permanent easement from Donald L. Reese and Tamara A. Reese at Lot 1 of Eagle Ridge Subdivision Unit 2 along Riviera Boulevard. So we just need an easement of 300 feet from these homeowners, which needed to widen our roadway. Council Memo 35924, resolution appropriating Rebuild Illinois bond funds for the 2024 Advanced Traffic Management System Phase A construction and the amount of $1,040,442.25. And as Chairman Hug alluded to before, the project is being funded by Rebuild Illinois bond funds. It's the same thing we spoke about before. That concludes my report.
Mayor. Yeah, I was gonna wait till tomorrow, but, Greg, can you obviously you were down there yesterday, Mayor. The storm hit us again, I know a month ago, and then again, Sunday, and then we're probably gonna get it again tonight, but can you give us a little update on, what the plan is, what we're actively doing? Near West Side got hammered, so if you don't mind.
Yeah, we had the weather event yesterday morning. A lot of the downtown area near West Side and I'll call it the near East Side were affected. Quite a few trees down and then some building damage in the downtown area. So we mobilized crews yesterday morning about 10 a.m. They started removing trees that were blocking roadways. They worked all day yesterday and then well into the overnight hours. Cleared all the roadways that we're aware of that were blocked. In order to get the roadways cleared, in some cases we just moved the trees to the side of the road. Today they came back and started removing trees from parkways, trees that were blocking sidewalks, down limbs, that type of thing. So at this point we are going area by area, clearing each area and moving on. If people see debris in the road, still see debris in the road, please contact the department, or excuse me, the roadways division at 815-724-3650. They'll get it on the list. If it's again blocking a sidewalk or a roadway, that's our priority. And then we're going to come back and clear the remaining trees and limbs. Based on the volume that we see and our staffing levels, we expect that it'll be a better part of a week before we get everything cleared, assuming that we don't get an event tonight that takes more trees down. Right now we're watching the weather. We're in the high risk category for high winds, so knock on wood, it doesn't hit us, but we may have some more come down potentially tonight.
Thank you for that. And one more thing. You know, the downtown parking, I know we have the study. Is there any way we can put stickers on, you know, where you self-pay, just to let the public know, you know, when are you supposed to feed the meters? I mean, it's, you know, every day, Monday through Friday till 5, but I don't think people understand that you don't have to do it on the weekend, or do we have to do it on the weekend, or? I think just simple stickers on there would solve the problem and give the public the information they need.
Yeah, we'll check the signage. I thought that there was some signage on there. It could be displayed on the little video screen, but we'll double check signage and see what we can do.
Thank you.
To be honest, I don't think it's there because people ask all the time, and I say, you don't have to put the money in, but they're afraid because they don't know who I am, and they put the money in anyway, because they're afraid it says you'll get a ticket, so they just.
I'm just thinking a simple sticker on there.
Somebody else said that to me
you don't have to pay
tonight,
on the
actually.
weekend. I mean, because they're feeding it and they don't have to. It's like, thank you.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments this evening?
Hello, everyone. My name is Isaiah Williams. I am the Vice President for the Including You Joliet Downtown Festival. Got to where we're keeping it going. It's working, and this year we will be in the at the park across the bridge there. Bicentennial Park, thank you. And Julia, our president, was to be here with me today, and she's had a health issue that she's dealing with, so I am filling in. And I would like to thank the council, thank the city, thank you, Mr. Mayor, in regards to being sponsors. And I'd like to thank you, Mr. Maldron, and Councilwoman Sharon Reardon for their donations. And the recipients of, as we are a non-profit organization, and the recipients this year will be the History on Wheels Museum and the Paraclete Ministry Grandparents Raising Children. We go through a process of selecting who will be the recipients of the funds that we make from the festival, and it gets better every year. And based on our outcome and everything is that we're able to actually increase on those on the monies that we give those organizations. So once again, I'd like to thank the council and thank you guys for your continued support and partnership.
What's the date on that again, please?
Say it again.
The date of that?
July 20th.
July 20th.
At Bicentennial Park.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Anyone else that would like to speak under public comments? Seeing none. Next, I did receive a request for closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition or conveyance pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Mudron?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried.